And it's not about MS anymore. It's about just working out in this community and being a part of the community. And you can go there, you come to MS Forward and everybody gets it. You can talk to everybody about it. But that's, I think, my spin, if you will, on my disease has changed to a more positive thing, just because I've been able to be a part of MS Forward Gym. And it's not just a gym, I just can't say it enough, it's a community. It's really a community.
It's murder, go crazy, berserker.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the SimPossible MS Forward Truck Series here on 3 Wide TV. I am Peter Short, and joining me tonight is Cameron Rich. We got a big race from the land of corn. It is Iowa Speedway. Last week we were at Richmond International Raceway for some short track racing at a 3/4 mile. Tonight we'll see much of the same on a 7/8 mile track. Cameron, it's a very bumpy track here at Iowa. What do you expect to see tonight?
Yeah, Peter, it's a very similar track to what we ran last week. A little bit longer, a lot wider, a little bit more banking, and it's progressively banked. A little bit more, should see a little bit more side-by-side racing, especially in turns 3 and 4. Very interesting way to run this track. It's quite highline biased, but the track is very bumpy up there, so it's going to be interesting to see how these drivers adapt to that surface.
Yeah, absolutely. Last week we only saw a few caution flags. Absolutely fantastic race at Richmond. And, you know, I'm thinking that with the track variably banked, it might set us up for some more green flag racing tonight. So we are in practice. We have about 3.5 minutes left. Kyle Zimmer up at the top of the board with David Wilson just 1/1000th of a second behind him. It looks like we have a close field here tonight.
Yes, and one notable absence, at least so far, Tanner Sharp, last week's winner, is not in the field. I don't know if he will be here or not, but he is also the points leader, so that will be something to watch for if he doesn't show up.
Yeah, definitely. The number 26 truck is absent, and he does have a pretty good points lead up at the top. I think it's 18 points over David Wilson, who has won quite a few races so far this season, and kind of been the standout, you know, with 4 wins. Tanner's got 3, so it would be, like you said, pretty notable if the 26 truck does not show up tonight. But there is his teammate on the screen, the number 25 of Kyle Zimmer, currently pacing the field here in practice at the Iowa Speedway. You can see he's running that high line. I expect to see that high line in full force here tonight. Cameron, you know, we've run some afternoon races, but here we go. It is 4:50 in the afternoon. The sun is beating down on this track. You know, what do you think the temperature will do, and what might we see as the track starts to cool off here this evening?
Yeah, we will definitely see this track change over the course of the race. I don't actually know what will happen myself. I do think, of course, it will become more grippy. I do think the line will change, but either way, be good to see these drivers run all over this track. This is actually one of a favorite of mine. It's a very good track. It's very, like we said, very similar to Richmond. Also one of my favorites. So quite a new track, but a very bumpy surface. I think this track is almost about 13 years old now. So I know a lot of drivers like it, and a lot of these drivers will as well.
Yeah, the fact that it is so bumpy and the fact that it is variably banked make it very tricky to pass here. You kind of have to be really patient with the pass. You could be quite a bit faster than the other trucks around you, but that high line, if that's where the other truck is, it can be really hard to pass on the low line. But like we said, if the track starts to cool down, gets a little bit grippier, I expect to see that low line get a little bit faster. And hopefully open up the track for even more side-by-side racing as it cools off. Riding on board with the number 4, Nate Catilla, with that MS forward paint scheme on that truck. You see him diving off now into turn number 3, and just watch that little right front. He just hits bump after bump. As you now see the number 34, that's Brian Bliss. He is racing that number 34 Jägermeister car tonight. And right behind him is Alan Capers. So we have a great field here tonight. I really think we're going to have a great race here. These guys have put on a great racing so far this season. We've seen some awesome side-by-side battles, 3 wide. Just these drivers don't hold back.
Yeah, and one thing I want to make note of is David Wilson has climbed to the top of the practice board. He is about 1/10 quicker than Zimmer, but if you look at the split between the first car and last car in practice, it's about 7.5 tenths or a little bit around that. So we should be looking at a really competitive close race tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with such a close field, it just kind of speaks volumes for how competitive this league has become here in only its 2nd season. And this is the first race in 2019. And if you're just now joining us with the SimPossible Racing League, they got some big plans for this year. They're going to be adding a lot more races, and like we said, there's a lot more racing left this season. We're only just this is the 10th race of the season. They have 26 planned, as you're right on board with Daniel Hosser in that number 22. Of course, that number 22, dear to my heart. That's the number I always love to run, and we'll follow him on board. Talk us through a lap here.
Well, we can see Hosser. He goes down to turn 1. He's not running that bottom line, but you can see the truck wobbling around those bumps. It's not really clear as to which line. Oh, yeah. Well, it is open qualifying, so all of the trucks are on track at once. But anyway, you can see Hosser is not running the bottom line. It is very bumpy down there, and you really don't want to go too low, or else your truck will chatter the tires. So definitely want to see what kind of lines all these guys are running. And it should be a little bit easier with everybody on track right now.
Yeah, currently Nate Catilla at the top of the board with a 23.825. So, yeah, I mean, it will be interesting. These drivers out there in qualifying, since it is open qualifying, Cameron, iRacing does have heat effects. Once you've got some rubber laid down on the track, it seems like the track heats up a little bit and you lose some grip. So definitely expect to see some of these drivers make the use out of the track as early and as quick as possible, as David Wilson now top of the board with a 23.602, taking that number 20 right to the point where he was in practice, as that you see the number 98 there. Beautiful paint scheme on that truck.
Absolutely, yeah. And not only the track surface, but you want to make sure that you get a lap clear of traffic as well, especially on a track as small as this. It's quite hard to do, actually, even with as many trucks as we have. But yeah, see, Wilson he will probably sit on that time. That's a very fast lap time for right now, so see if he can make another lap or not.
Yeah, a lot of these trucks coming out for one lap and then done, because I don't think they're picking up any time on their second lap. As you can see, Kyle Zimmer dive off into turn number 1 and 2. Tries to get that truck down to the bottom. Gets it out close to the wall coming off at turn number 2. You just see that truck just go over those bumps as he hits his marks in turn 3 and 4. He hits the power down hard off the corner. Here it goes at the stripe. And that's going to be a 3rd place lap for Kyle Zimmer, as Brian Bliss has gone to the top with a 23.54. So maybe it's the opposite. Maybe the track is gaining speed. Oh, there you see the 25 just clipping the wall out of the corner. I don't think he was on a flyer. And there is the number 22 of Daniel Hosser. Excuse me. And he's trying to put another lap in here.
Yeah, we see some of these trucks running a higher line, especially in 3 and 4, like I said earlier. So I do think there is a lot of speed up there right now.
Yeah, definitely in 3 and 4. That is not where the bumps are in 3 and 4. 3 and 4 tends to be pretty smooth up near the wall. There's a big bump on the high side in turns 1 and 2, especially in turn 1. If you get that bump in turn 1 way up near the wall, it will shoot your truck right into the outside wall. So it's really a tricky track for these drivers to face, because not only is it variably banked, you're racing side by side, but you're dealing with these bumps. As you see Chris Roberge, he's hitting his marks. Yeah, like you said, running a little bit higher up. Ooh, just scrapes the wall off the corner. That will invalidate that lap, as we just have about 50 seconds left. So some of these drivers, here comes David Wilson, he's coming out for another flyer. These drivers will be getting their last few qualifying laps in here. We'll have to keep an eye on this 20. What does David Wilson have in store for us? Running the middle groove in turn number 1 and 2. And now down the back stretch is Kyle Zimmer's gone to the top of the board. There's the number 25, 25.536, 4 1,000ths faster than Brian Bliss. David Wilson now coming out of turn number 4. He's at the line, 23.848. That will not get the job done, as we have only 15 seconds left. Not sure how many of these drivers are on a fast lap. I think Eric Minch, he'll come to the stripe. He might be able to get a lap time in, as we have now just 2 seconds left in qualifying. I think Minch's lap time will count. You can see him hitting those bumps there in turn number 1 that we just talked about. Fighting that truck over the bumps down the backstretch. That number 01 machine diving it now down into turn number 3. Running that middle groove. I think he has thought better of his lap time, and he has pulled off track. I think he could have got that lap time in, but I think those bumps in turn 1 just hurt his lap time. Chris Roberge has come across the stripe in that number 98, so I think that will just about do it for qualifying, Cameron.
Yeah, and one thing to make note of, especially in this open qualifying format, you saw the counter reach 0 and then go to about 30. That meant that everyone on a lap had a chance to finish their lap, but if you did not make it to the line before that, then you were not going to have that lap time.
Yeah, and Kyle Zimmer came away with the pole in group qualifying. That is his second pole of the season. And, the last time we saw him sit on the pole was at Charlotte just a few weeks ago. And not only did he win that race at Charlotte, he absolutely dominated that race at Charlotte, led 56 of the 83 laps. So, I wouldn't be at all surprised if we see him get another win from pole in that number 25 truck. We'll have to wait and see, as that rough pace car is right out there at front. Will take us through the starting order, and there he is, that number 25. Like we said, Kyle Zimmer on pole with a very good 23.536, and just a few 1,000ths of a second behind him. Starting second, Brian Blitz.
Got our winningest driver, David Wilson, starting third, and Nate Catilla to his outside, starting position number 4.
In fifth be the number 13 of Alan Capers, and alongside him, that really good-looking number 98 truck of Chris Roberge.
Billy Wise starts P7, and to his outside, Tom Johnson in 8th spot.
The number 22, my personal favorite. Gotta love that number 22 on that truck. Daniel Hosser, he'll start in P9, and just to his outside will be Kevin Cochran.
Starting P11, you have Eric Minch, and to his outside, Tim Connolly in the number 3 truck.
And starting in the 13th position, shotgun on the field, is Brian Lowhead in the number 66 machine. So, another thing I have mentioned about Daniel Hosser's truck is he's running number 22, and I'm pretty sure that's the Bolt font on that number 22, which is what I have run myself as well. So, not picking favorites, but that number 22 truck looks pretty good as well. As you can see, we're rolling down the back stretch as that rough RT12 pace car is leading the way. Pace car lights are off, and that means we'll go green flag this time. Cameron, getting a good start at Iowa, what do you think your keys to getting a good start here in this race will be?
Well, for Kyle Zimmer, I think it's just going to be just getting down into turn 1 without washing up the track and getting off turn 2.
Well, psych, the pace car lights are not off, so we will get an extra lap. I think that getting a good start here is important, especially if you're the second place car. Making yourself known on that high line. You can really pinch a driver down if it's go time towards the end of the race, but you can pinch that driver down, make him hit those bumps, because on the inside of turns 1 and 2, there are a bunch of bumps too, just like on the outside. But in that middle groove, it's kind of a sweet spot. The bumps are kind of smaller there. The truck has a lot of grip, especially on the restart. So if you can get a good start and keep alongside with the truck to your inside, you can get a really good run through the middle of turn number 1 and 2, and then use that high side in 3 and 4 where there aren't any bumps to your advantage. But it'll be interesting to see, because all these tires will be really grippy, but the track temperature is really hot. Track temperature currently 98 degrees Fahrenheit, as finally the rough pace car will pull down that hard left turn, and the race is in the hands of Kyle Zimmer. Green flag is out here at Iowa Speedway. We're side by side for the race lead. There's that good start for Brian Bliss that we were talking about as they head off into turn number 1. That number 34, as they're really close in the back, you can see everyone using that banking, but Zimmer does get clear from that number 34. Bliss trying to get a good run down the backstretch, keep that momentum up. Everyone jumping to the high side except for David Wilson in turn number 3 and 4. Wilson washes up, not able to keep that momentum up. It just gets really tight when you're down there on the bottom, Cameron.
Yeah, Wilson had a head of steam down the backstretch. He almost took the lead there, but he's currently battling for second. I think he's going to take it here off turn number 2 from Brian Bliss. Can't quite clear him. Just seeing that high line have the advantage around this track right now, at least when you talk about passing someone, but Wilson's going to make the move. He's going to go for the lead on Zimmer here.
Yeah, David Wilson ran right down there on the bottom, but it got really tight at the last second, just shaved a few inches of paint. Maybe not inches, a few millimeters of paint off the side of that number 20 truck. As here comes Brian Bliss. We're now side by side for the race lead. Look at this, these front trucks dicing it up almost 4 wide coming off the corner. Bliss to the inside, Zimmer to the outside. Wilson looking for a place to go in the 20 truck. He decides to stick with the high side, but Brian Bliss showing his nose in that number 34, getting clean air on that Jägermeister machine. Almost opened the door for David Wilson, who got a head of steam. A little bit of contact there going into turn number 3. These two leaders side by side. Zimmer trying to hold him off. Zimmer, of course, has so far led the most laps, but we're only on lap number 5 now.
And I'd just like to point out that we are only lap 5 of a 143 lap race, and these guys are racing like it's the last lap. So awesome racing so far for this race.
Yeah, Kevin Cochran has moved up 2 spots. He's now up into the 8th position. He's so far the biggest mover of the race, but the race is only a few laps old as here comes Brian Bliss. Looks like maybe Kyle Zimmer getting a little bit loose on that high side. Looks like there's a little bit of wiggle out of that machine, and Britt Bliss is going to try and use that middle groove to his advantage. You're looking off the nose of David Wilson. Wilson now trying to peek a nose to the outside of the 34, not able to do it. But definitely these drivers making use of that variable banking and that wide open space that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, very close off turn number 2 last time. Brian Bliss just slid up. There was almost contact there, but these drivers are doing a great job staying off each other. Yeah, just we can see the high side just prevailing right now. It's so hard to get that run off when there's less banking to your use.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how when these tires wear a little bit, when you run down on the lower lines, it can actually wear your tires a little bit more because you're turning a tighter radius down there. You're scrubbing a little bit more speed off on the tires, and especially here where you have that extra banking on that outside. So not only can the high line prevail and keep your momentum up, but it can also save the tires. But the number 34, Brian Bliss, trying his absolute best to try and clear the 25. I thought he might have had him there, but look at that run that the 25 got on the high side as these 3 battle it out for the race lead. There's a gap back to as Brian Bliss does finally clear the 25. I missed the pass for the race lead, but you guys didn't there on 3 wide TV as Brian Bliss now takes his number 34 truck to the front. Just working that inside groove, finally able to get a little bit of fresh air out front.
And just a few spots back, Alan Capers was passed for position number 4 by Chris Roberge, so he's about a second and a half back of this battle that you see on screen right now. See if, depending on how hard these guys race up front, if he can maybe catch them a little bit later on, because I do think they will use their tires up just a bit more.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of a cat and mouse game. You want to save your tires a little bit because, like we saw at Richmond, we saw some long green flag runs. It isn't always about getting those first few laps led. You kind of want to save your tires and see if the race will come to you. As David Wilson just watching these two leaders go at it, Brian Bliss is asserting himself at the front. Like you said, Christopher Burge is now up to the 4th. He's up 2 spots from his 6th place starting spot. Not currently making, not making any inways on these leaders, but not losing any ground either, running about the same time as these leaders. But he is a couple of tenths off. It looks like he is about 2 seconds off the race lead. But that number 98 truck just plugging away, probably saving his tires and keeping things nice and clean on that 98. We still focus on this battle for the race lead. Definitely, you can see Kyle Zimmer. He's still hungry, as David Wilson's hungry too. Just kind of showing that nose to the high side of the 25 truck. There's definitely a way around here. If you can get that run off the corner and just get your nose to the outside of a truck on exit, it can definitely work to your advantage. Now he dives down to the inside, trying to find that space to make the move on Kyle Zimmer. But you have to keep your truck clean, and we've seen David Wilson keep his truck clean a couple times this year to get a race. So just patience at this point. Some great racing for the lead, but I'm sure these drivers are exerting some levels of patience. Might not look like it because they're racing like crazy, but definitely some patience here early in the going at Iowa Speedway.
And this battle for the lead has not gone away. These 3 trucks are still glued to each other just about, and I do think Zimmer is a little bit faster, but he just can't get around Bliss. But gonna have to see what David Wilson does, because like you said, he's actually gained a couple of race wins just from being patient. So I think that he knows what he needs to do at this stage of the race, and he's just going to watch these 2 in front of him battle.
Yeah, these drivers up here at the front, you can see Bliss is now running a much higher line, very high in turns 1 and 2. He is just missing the bump. He's running just about maybe a half groove behind or below, the big bump that's in turn 1. But he's hugging the upper line to try and get a good run. A good run off, as we have a caution out on the speedway, the first caution of the race. The number 4 of Nate Catilla is around on the front stretch, just coming out of turn number 4. He gets that number 4 truck ratted around. There goes the number 22 around him, and it looks like Eric Minch is on the inside of the 4 truck and just kind of maybe washed up into the 4. Not exactly sure. It definitely seemed like it gets a little bit tight down there, and that 4 truck goes for a single car spin, but doesn't look like much damage to that 4 truck.
That was a great job keeping off the wall. I don't think he even kissed it, so that's going to be good to definitely not have to take a fast repair for that one.
Yeah, definitely great job keeping that truck off the wall. It's pretty difficult to do. Here you go, on board. We'll get to see those hands. There he goes. Tries to save that truck, just keeps it locked down, and it just comes to a stop there on track without hitting the outside wall. Great job by that number 4 truck to prevent any further damage, and isn't going to lose too much track position out of it either, as we'll see everyone, I think, down pit road for this first time. We might see a few trucks stay out to try and gain a bonus point. We've seen a few trucks do that so far this season, as Christopher Burge does do that, and he stays out. But here comes Brian Bliss leading him down pit road.
I do have to imagine that all of these trucks will be taking 4 tires, because 20 laps at this track is quite a lot. A lot different than last week at Richmond, where you could technically stay out or take 2 tires on 20 laps because the track was so much smoother, but I don't think that's going to benefit much here. But you never know.
Yeah, I'm looking at lap times, and I expect them to take 4 tires, because there was about 0.7 of a second of fall off in those 17 laps as Brian Bliss hits the gas, and looks like he'll win the race off pit road, close for second, but I think Kyle Zimmer's just going to nip the 20 of David Wilson. So they will hold their position up there at the front. And of course, like we said, Christopher Burge, there he is, that number 98. He does stay out in that 98 truck. So he thought about coming down pit road, but decided to stay out. So we'll definitely have to see how that works out for the number 98 truck, as he now leads his second lap. And there is Brian Bliss right behind him now on 4 fresh tires. Great stop by that crew. A 14.5 seconds stop on my clock for Brian Bliss, and a 15.3 for Kyle Zimmer, and a 14.8 for David Wilson. So that number 34 crew getting stuff done. There's the 01 of Eric Minch coming through turn number 2.
And for the 98 of Roberge, we saw that move a lot last week at Richmond, where he stayed out on older tires, and it actually netted him a 3rd place finish in the race. So almost like a trademark move for him at this point. But he knows what he's doing, so see how that plays out for him. I do think he will fall back on the older tires here, but maybe just leading some laps. Those bonus points do matter a lot in the grand scheme of this championship.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that we were talking about just a little while ago was the track temperature was at 98 degrees Fahrenheit. It's now dropped to 92 degrees Fahrenheit. So this track definitely cooling down as we go into the late afternoon here at Iowa Speedway. That is going to give these drivers more and more grip all around. It's been interesting, though, because we've seen a lot of drivers, it looks like they might get a little bit tight down there on the inside line. And, if it starts to get a little bit cooler on the track, it might make that worse. But we'll have to wait and see. Just like with the 98 of Chris Roberge, he's playing a little bit different strategy here. We'll have to see how that works out for him. Like I said, there was about 0.7 of a second of fall off in that initial run. But, it could just be nice to have a heat cycle on your tires. You will get a little bit of that speed back versus some of the fresher tires. So we'll have to just wait and see, as I think we're going to double them up this time. And we will be going back to green this time by. So it'll be great to get back to side-by-side racing, and we'll have to see how this all plays out.
And we'll have to see how the 98 handles this restart with those older tires. If he gets any wheel spin or, a generally bad restart any other way, might bunch up the field. But I don't think he should have too much of an issue. This track isn't really known that much for being such low grip to where you have that issue. But definitely have to see.
Yeah, definitely that we've seen wheel spin be an issue once or twice this season on restarts on older tires. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Definitely the field has all doubled up. Pace car down pit road. Chris Roberge will lead us back to the green flag here, as the green flag is furled once again here at Iowa Speedway. We go side by side once again for the race lead. Great restart by Brian Bliss, able to stay almost side by side with that number 98 truck as they head off into turn number 1, but the 98 holding strong down there on the inside. But that number 34, great run out of turn number 2 for Brian Bliss to take the race lead. And it looks like the 98 now stuck on the inside, almost like the sucker hole at Talladega. When you get stuck down there on the inside, it can be kind of troublesome here at Iowa. But now he's got Daniel Hosser to his inside as they're side by side coming out of turn number 2. It looks like the 22 got a little bit loose on entry to the corner. So maybe that's definitely still hot enough to get these trucks a little bit loose, or maybe it's just on fresher tires. They need some tire pressure to come up in these trucks for them to tighten up a little bit. We'll keep an eye on that, watching out the front of Billy Wise on this side-by-side battle. As still Chris Roberge holding on to 4th position, but all the trucks now kind of lining up behind him. Billy Wise, one of them, looking for some room, stuck behind the number 22 of Hosser. As we're now 3 wide, here comes Nate Cattell high on the outside, as I think Alan Capers just caught the wall right behind him. He's now, looks like he might give up a spot to Eric Minch. Nope, he keeps the foot in it keeps the momentum up as Catilla's still trying to go 3 wide. There we go, side by side now. That is the battle for, I think, the 5th position. Oh, the 98 gets loose in the middle, and Hosser trying to check up, not able to do so. The 98 has gone around. We're still green flag here at Iowa, believe it or not. Everyone on the inside of the racetrack. Hosser trying to put it in reverse as the yellow flag has finally been furled. I think the flagman needs a shot of adrenaline. We've seen that a couple times, but I think the 98 he was in the middle of 3 wide. We'll watch it out the front of the number 22. Then it just looks like it just kind of stepped out from him on entry, Cameron.
Yeah, really good job by all the drivers. That really could have been a lot worse accident than it was. I don't think either truck has that much damage, so definitely a lot better result than it could have been.
Yeah, it looks like that truck just absolutely snapped on Robert. Not very much he could do on entry there. I mean, sometimes that just happens. It would be interesting also to see how much brake these trucks are, or how much brake these drivers are using. You know, it's too bright outside to see how much the brake rotors are glowing, but it'd be interesting to see maybe if the brakes had something to do there. Maybe the weight shifting on the truck might have just kind of turned that truck around as the leader stays out. The number 34, Brian Bliss, stays on the racetrack with, I think, Kevin Cochran, but David Wilson and pretty much everyone else now down pit road as Tim Connolly will be your lucky dog. Great to see Tim getting that lucky dog. There goes that number 3 Dale Earnhardt inspired machine. Heartbeat Network on that car, as always.
Yeah, and Tim has been running street stocks on his free time, so good to see him getting more experience with racing in general. And I can tell anyone who may or may not know iRacing that street stocks is probably the most difficult series in iRacing. So good to see Tim getting that experience under his belt.
Yeah, those street stocks, they have quite a bit of power. It can be quite deceiving sometimes how much power they actually do have with so little downforces. There is the number 34, Brian Bliss. I think he might be taking a page out of Chris Roberge's playbook because he stayed out on track with only a few laps on his tires. He has 11 laps since he last pitted, but only a few of those laps were under green. But David Wilson getting those 4 fresh tires, obviously the number 20 truck thinks that those 4 tires mean something, Cameron.
Yeah, and Brian Bliss, he knows that he has the speed. He's been one of the quicker trucks here so far in this race, so I think he's just hedging his bets on beating all the trucks behind him on raw pace. But I do think those tires, we obviously saw those tires come into play with the last restart on the 98. So I think David Wilson will eventually get the advantage there.
Yeah, so just to put it into perspective, the number 34 had 5 green flag laps on those tires. That previous run before this was 17 laps. So, you know, won't be as big of an advantage as we saw in that first restart, but definitely it will be a little bit of an advantage for that number 20 because we saw a couple tenths drop off in those first few laps for the number 34. So definitely seems like your first few laps you can make the most of the tires. We saw a bunch of the drivers set their best lap under that last little green flag run, but it'll just be interesting to see how those few lap older tires work, because there are tracks where you can make, you know, 20, 30, 40 lap old tires work, and it seems like you have better luck with the older tires in night races, but only 5 laps, it's not a lot of laps, so we'll just have to see how this one plays out. Yet again, just another storyline here at the Iowa Speedway. Looking a little bit further back in the pack, there is Billy Wise. We were on board with that number 32 machine when that last accident happened. As you can see, everyone up front in front of him.
And just real quick before we go back green, the pace car lights are off. Give a quick shout out to our chatters in the chat, I guess. But we appreciate all you guys chatting to us. We'll try to read your comments on a further caution, but thank you.
Yeah, absolutely great to see. And don't forget, all of us here on 3 Wide TV, you know, you can drop a like and drop a subscribe if you want to see more of us here and see more of the SimPossible Racing League, because we are here every Wednesday night having a lot of fun broadcasting for all these guys here on track. It's a lot of fun to be a part of the league. I know that these drivers really enjoy this league. It's a great league to be a part of, and it's great to have someone like MS Ford on board to be the presenting sponsor for this truck series, as that rough pace car dives down with a hard left, as we'll put the race back in the hands of Brian Bliss, and the green flag back in the air here at Iowa Speedway. Big checkup for that number 34. I don't know if he was in the wrong gear, couldn't get it going, or maybe it's a little bit of wheel spin, something like that, but he's going to drop way back in the pack. And David Wilson in the number 20 now has command of this race from the high line, and he's got a pretty big lead. Nate Catilla able to move up into second. Chris Roberge in third after going around under that for that last caution. And into his inside is Alan Capers. Here's the side-by-side battle for now what is third on the racetrack. Looking a little bit further back, there's Brian Bliss. He's trying to work his way forward over Billy Wise and the number 25 of... man, I'm forgetting everyone's name today. Sorry, Kyle. Kyle Zimmer in that number 25 truck is now Kyle Zimmer going 3 wide almost. As we got one in the grass, at 34, what a save. He's down in the grass. Brian Bliss, they were 3 wide for a split second. And that number 34 truck, contact a little bit in front of these guys. Kyle Zimmer now on the inside of the track. We're watching the replay of the 34 going through the grass. Kyle Zimmer going down on the back stretch. Action everywhere on the track. A little bit of damage down on the backside of that number 25 of Kyle Zimmer. Looks like he got a little bit loose. It's, oh, the 80 truck hard on the inside. I did not see that. That is the 80 truck of Kevin Cochran, who unfortunately hit that inside wall. No caution for that, as that number 80 truck sits on pit road getting a tow and a fast repair. Alan Capers back in the outside wall. What a crazy couple of laps, Cameron.
Yeah, and all this has transpired to spread this field out more than we've seen tonight. David Wilson has about a 1.5 second lead over Chris Roberge right now, and quite equidistant back behind him.
Yeah, you're watching Alan Capers dive to the inside of Nate Catilla, right off the front nose here of Tom Johnson, keeping that number 56 truck clean. I've noticed that about Tom Johnson. He definitely keeps his truck clean, as we have a yellow flag here at
we have
Iowa
a truck
Speedway.
upside down.
Oh my gosh, truck upside down. Oh man, that's a 22. Daniel Hosser upside down. We'll watch this replay. He had Eric Minch to his inside, and he just kind of comes down a little bit and into the 01 truck and upside down. Rip camera. Rest in peace, as it ends up on its lid. But definitely Eric Minch not seeing what happened there. Looks like looks like maybe the 22 got a little bit loose up out of the corner, and that 01 truck just got sucked right into the wall. The wall said, nope, you ain't going anywhere. And big damage to that 01 truck, as he'll have to take a fast tow down to pit road.
What a strange wreck there. Eric Minch just stopped. He didn't even have any momentum after hitting the wall, so not many times you see at a track like this cars slipping over on the roof, but here we have the field down into pit road. Looks like Tom Johnson thought about staying out, but made a last-minute decision to come in. Oh, sorry, Chris Roberge, not Tom Johnson.
And it looks like we do have a couple of drivers staying out. Alan Capers, Billy Wise being some of those. So it'll be interesting to see, if they decide to come down, whether they're just staying out to lead a lap. I think Tim Connolly will be the lucky dog, because I think he was the first car lap down. So he will be now only 1 lap down in that number 3 machine. Great to see Tim working his way back to the lead lap once again, as David Wilson wins the battle off pit road. Chris Roberge, Nate Catilla, I think just nipped Tom Johnson there at the line. Kyle Zimmer just behind him. But I don't know. It looks like We might have a speeding penalty. Nope, never mind. And here comes Alan Capers. He's decided to stay out, lead a lap, get a bonus point. Billy Wise now assumes the race lead here under yellow. We'll have to see if he decides to bring his truck down to pit road. Eric Minch has completed his tow and his fast repair, so that 01 truck is moving down there on pit road. Daniel Hosser will also get some 4 fresh tires. And we're going to try and drag the driver of the number 34 machine up here. Brian Bliss, this is Peter Short up here in the 3-wide TV booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
All right, Brian, you've had a really fast truck tonight. How's that track handling? Looks like it's cooling off a little bit. How's the truck and how's the track?
Well, the truck is pretty good. It's a little on the tight side.
Yeah, we've noticed it seems a little difficult to make the pass, especially if you're on the inside. We saw you down there trying and trying and trying. Finally, you made it work. But it definitely seems like that variable banking is coming into play a little bit. You know, how does a track like this with variable banking and bumps, how do you have to approach it as a driver?
I'm not sure. It's very hard to pass in 3 and 4 on the bottom.
Yeah, we've definitely seen that. It's caught out a few drivers here tonight, and definitely a tricky track, but you guys are putting on a fantastic show. You're now, a little bit further back in the pack. How are you going to pass these guys in front of you?
Plan is to just take my time here. Still a long race. Take them off one at a time. Yeah,
you're actually just now almost at about 100 laps to go, so definitely quite a few laps left in this one. Out of curiosity, that last caution, was it a little bit of wheel spin or maybe the gear didn't go in?
Started in 4th gear.
Ah, okay. So you started in 4th gear. Yep. I've done that. I've done that before, and same kind of things happened when I've done that before. So definitely something that I'm sure we all experience. I know with my gear shifter, it likes to pop out of gear, but I think everyone's doubling up now, and I think we'll get back to green flag this time. Brian, we thank you for joining us up here, and good luck tonight.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Well, pace car lights are off, Cameron, and you expect to see much of the same this time?
Well, yeah, these drivers have been really going after it. Under that caution, we did see the 32 of Billy Wise pit, so that gave David Wilson the lead. So he will be starting on the inside next to Chris Reverge, who has been up there quite a bit tonight. Been kind of a quiet race for him, but he's right up there with these leaders.
Yeah, this kind of reminds me of what Chris did at Dover. He was just kind of quietly up there all night and got a good finish, so I'm sure he's hoping he can repeat his Dover performance here tonight. Green flag is back in the air here as you see Brian Lowhead dive down to the inside. Looks like he's just going to give way as up at the front we're side by side David Wilson in that number 20. I think he's going to get clear contact right behind
34's around.
The 34, of Brian Bliss. What a save. He's able to keep that going. Look at there might have been a little bit of contact with him with another truck, not 100% sure, just a little bit of contact there. Billy Wise in that number 32 machine.
I don't know how he saved that thing. He got hit twice. It's a great job of driving by him.
He got a little bit of bamp and another bamp and then another bamp and kept everything going straight. So great job driving. Look like he locked up those brakes, kept it going straight. Absolute great reaction save. The 98 Chris Reverge is around. In turn number 4, that'll bring out the yellow flag. There is the 98. Not sure what happened there, but looks like same kind of thing happened. Same thing happened that got around last time. Just kind of got away from him again. An entry into number 3. Looks like he got a little bit of contact. Maybe Alan Capers might it have been. Not 100% sure.
Yeah, one thing I want to make a note of, as you see the replay, the 98 spin around, that's almost the exact same that happened to him the first time, except he was 3 wide the first time. And these trucks rely so much on side force that when you have a truck to your outside or even your inside, you just lose that, and it's so easy to lose it. So think that's what we saw both times with that 98 truck.
Yeah, getting a little bit of air off that spoiler to loosen up that truck. He was definitely really close. The air packing inside or between the trucks of Roberge and the 25 of Kyle Zimmer. And, props to Kyle Zimmer. He's kind of had an up-down night tonight, but once again, we see that number 25 truck. He started on the pole. He's back into the second spot now. He's going to set his eyes on that number 20 of David Wilson. So, like I said, he's been on the pole, led the first few laps. He's kind of shied away from your front few, but now he's back to right being up there near the front. So there's Chris Roberge. He's on pit road, has to put that car in reverse, get back into his pit stall. I'm sure those iRacing officials are looking for those white lines, make sure that he's in between them. As there you see Brian Lowhead headed off pit road in that number 66. And there's the number 34, Brian Bliss. Probably getting a little bit of damage repaired, Cameron, after that earlier contact. As he might need to get going here, as he finally does get going, but David Wilson was coming up on him pretty fast. Don't want to see that 34 truck go a lap down. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll just step away here for a brief moment. Your top 5 at lap number 49. David Wilson, Kyle Zimmer, Nate Catilla, Billy Wise, and Alan Capers. We'll be right back.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Iowa Speedway. We have 50 laps completed. The lit field is doubled up for this restart. Pace car is about to pull off the track. David Wilson is your leader, and to his outside, Kyle Zimmer. We're coming to the green flag. Pace car is off, and field is doubled up, ready to go. Wilson is on the gas. He gets a great restart. Going to pull up right in front of the outside line of Zimmer here. And Peter, this race has been not sure. Oh,
Big
as I was
contact.
saying,
Oh my gosh, huge accident. I think six trucks involved, Cameron. Oh man, there are 3 wide going into turn number 1.
as I was saying, this race has not been short of excitement, and we saw a lot more than we wanted to see right there. That was a huge wreck in turn number 1.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of trucks came away with it with not too much damage, but they just dove off into the corner. Looks like Kitella might have hit a bump, and it just unsettled the truck. The 56 Tom Johnson nowhere to go. 34 also nowhere to go. Alan Capers 13 nowhere to go. Man, it just seems like there was, as soon as it happened, the track just kind of got blocked because those two trucks were completely sideways. Look at Eric Minch go, man, just got a nick at the end with that right front. But man, Eric Minch did a great job there of getting his way through. Unfortunately, got clipped the last second on board. Oh man, that was a 66 Brian Lowhead on board with, and he had absolutely nowhere to go once those trucks got sideways.
Yeah, it's just so hard when that happens in front of you. You can't hit the brakes because when you hit the brakes in these trucks, they either go straight or they spin out. So, you know, sometimes you just have no choice but to drive into the smoke and see where you come out on the other side.
Yeah, that definitely sometimes happened. You definitely saw a few trucks able to escape through on the inside, one of those being Christopher Burge and Billy Wise, the other one. It seems like those trucks, beyond David Wilson, who was, of course, your race leader, those few trucks and Kyle Zimmer were some of the only ones that did not get damaged. But speaking of Kyle Zimmer and David Wilson, both of those drivers did come down and pit. And it wasn't David Wilson off pit road first out of those two. It was Kyle Zimmer. So Kyle Zimmer will be the first truck on 4 fresh tires, but there's still quite a bit of time to go. So definitely seems like Zimmer able to get off pit road first. We'll have to see what he can do with it now that he's got ahead of David Wilson, although he will be behind Christopher Burge, who's doing what Chris has done a couple times tonight, stayed out on only a few laps older tires this time. Not very many green flag laps. I think about half a corner.
Yeah, that's an interesting strategy from those two trucks. I can't imagine their tires are too hurt because we didn't really have enough green flag racing there to make a difference. But I do think there might be some pit or fuel strategy involved. So, well, we have 90 some laps to go. So it might be the fuel or the fuel run for these trucks. Although our leader now is Chris Roberge, and he was 7th on the restart, I believe, and he just drove through that wreck right on the bottom, and that's pretty cool to see that.
Yeah, definitely. Getting able to get around that accident and get into the race lead. Sometimes right place, right time can get you race wins.
Yeah, and speaking of right place, right time, our lucky dog on the last caution was Tim Connolly. He is back on the lead lap, so going to be good to see him being able to race up here with these leaders. He did have pretty good speed in practice, so now that he is on the lead lap, see what he can do. Maybe take advantage of the somewhat carnage we've had this race and get a good run out of it.
Yeah, definitely good to see Tim on the lead lap here in that number 3 truck. And it's good to see Billy Wise at number 32 as well, up there on that front row as pace car lights are out. And, it's good to see some new faces up at the front. I know Roberge has had some good runs this year. Billy definitely looking for a good run here at the Iowa Speedway. It's a fun track, and it definitely can bring out some it's kind of an equalizing, in my opinion, I think, with the multi-groove. And I say equalizing, not that it's equalizing in a way that's bad or anything, but it's equalizing in a way that it makes for a really tight field, almost like a super speedway makes for a tight field. And I think it's just part of this track design. I know Rusty Wallace was one of the drivers who was consulted here on the Iowa Speedway back when they were making it. So it makes for a lot of fun, and as a track that as drivers tend to enjoy. As the pace car has now worked its way off the track one more time, the green flag waving here at Iowa Speedway once again. A little bit of a stack up, a little bit further back in the pack, but up at the front, Chris Roberge got a great restart, and he's going to dive to the inside. and I think take the lead over Billy Wise. But here comes Kyle Zimmer as Zimmer clears Wise coming out of turn number 2. So move the number 25 back to the front. In fact, the 25 all the way down there on the bottom. I think Kyle Zimmer just barely cleared. Roberge clipping the wall down the straightaway. That's going to hurt the 98 truck. He lost all of his momentum as Billy Wise just clipped the back end of the 25 truck. So, like we said, Cameron, it's not exactly a short track. It's 7/8 of a mile, but it races like a short track.
Oh yeah, and we saw some contact down there in turn 1. The 32 of Billy Wise almost all but got into the back of Zimmer there. Surprised that there wasn't a bigger issue because that looked like a pretty hard tap. But this battle for the lead is heating up. Billy Wise is all over the back of Zimmer right now.
Yeah, that number 32 truck is coming. And he is looking all over the back of that number 25 truck, trying to get a little bit of clean air on that nose to see if he can make that pass work. And we see the inside line. I know we saw the 25 go down and use it to take the lead. I wonder if the track cooling off a little bit might be helping that inside line just a little bit. Well, that's why we saw Kyle Zimmer able to go down there and prevail for this race lead, as we still have about 82 laps to go here at Iowa Speedway. So still plenty. A little bit of contact there between the 20 of David Wilson and Chris Roberge. Kind of a hit check. And the little bit of hit check there is going to get Wilson by and move David Wilson back up into the 3rd position as he tries to chase down Billy Wise in that number 32 truck. Definitely got to give a shout out to Billy Wise. He has moved up 5 positions from his starting position up into the 2nd position, and Brian Lowhead started shotgun on the field. He is now up to the 6th position. So those 2 drivers showing that they definitely have speed tonight. There is David Wilson, as we'll keep an eye on the lap times here. Last time by, Kyle Zimmer ran a 23.779, great lap time. He falls off a little bit this lap though, as David Wilson was one of the fastest trucks on the track. In fact, the fastest truck this time by was actually Brian Bliss, but due to that accident, Brian has now fallen 2 laps off the pace. It seems like we now only have 8 trucks on the lead lap, with Eric mentioned Brian Bliss battling it out for the Lucky Dog spot. You see now Brian has gotten around Eric Minch, so put Brian into the Lucky Dog position. That will definitely be important if that number 34 truck. We've seen him be really fast tonight, but we'll get to see him contend as David Wilson has made the move on Billy Wise, move that 20 truck up into P2. He's going to try and set his sights now on Kyle Zimmer, as Zimmer is the fastest truck on track. And one thing, Cameron, I've noticed is the tire fall off doesn't seem to be as bad anymore. It seems like maybe the track cooling off a little bit is helping the tire wear.
Yeah, it's definitely going to help these drivers, especially when it gets even closer to nighttime. It's just going to help. Oh, we have a caution on track.
We do have a caution. It looks to be in turn number 4. I see Brian Lowhead going slow in that number 66. We were just talking about him. A little bit of contact with Tom Johnson. They just crowded each other, going for the same bit of real estate on the track. A little bit of contact. That number 66 going straight. And here we go, on board with the 66. And I think he might have thought he had cleared him on entry, but variable banking here, just a little bit tighter inside radius and a little bit of contact there. Puts the 66 in the outside wall, but I'm sure that number 66 will be able to get fixed up, and we'll see him charge back to the front. He's still running in the 7th position, so I'm sure he can come down, get most of that damage fixed. We do have a lucky dog. Looks like Brian Bliss will be your lucky dog under this caution, assuming he didn't succumb to the unfortunate 0X, but I don't think he is, because he should be getting the wave around here, as Nate Catilla has decided to stay out in that number 4 truck. Meanwhile, everyone else has come down pit road. But like I was saying, Cameron, it looks like tire fall off wasn't that bad under that short run. Just a couple of tenths in those first few laps. So as you see Brian getting one of his laps back in that 34, so he'll now only be 1 lap down. Kyle Zimmer comes down into his box, hard on the brakes. Great stop right on his marks. As you see that crew go to work on the right-hand side of that number 25 machine. There's Chris Roberge. He's hit his marks well. And there we'll see the race off here. The Sunoco sign. It is Kyle Zimmer first man off. David Wilson second. And Billy Weiss holds station in third. Chris Roberge fourth car off the pit road. But like we had said, Nate Catilla in that number 4 machine did stay out. So he might be thinking that the track is changing and maybe getting a little bit better tire wear on that number 4 truck as well. So we'll have to see how that pans out. We said the track will cool off. We've seen the ambient temperature cool off around 4 or 5 degrees, but the track temperature, we started this race at almost 100 degrees Fahrenheit. It has now dropped down to 79 degrees Fahrenheit on the track, Cameron. That's a huge difference for the drivers.
Yeah, local time in the sim right now is 5:48, and we're running at 2 times acceleration. So, yeah, the extra grip these guys are going to get from that track cooling off is going to open up a whole bunch of new strategies as we get to the end of this race, such as 2 tires, no tires, staying out. So definitely going to want to see how that pans out, like if we get a late race caution or something like that.
Yeah, definitely. That is an interesting thing to note, because we've seen the 4 tires and the no tires tonight, but I don't think we've seen anyone on 2 tires yet. So that is, of course, a extra options these drivers have is taking only 2 tires, as Nate Catilla has decided to bring down the number 4 truck. He might be thinking about the possibility for fuel, the fuel window. So that should hand the lead back over to Kyle Zimmer, as looks like I think Eric Minch is going to take the wave around, as he is staying out on track behind the pace car. So when the pace car lights do turn off and we get the 1 to go, we should see Eric Minch in that number 01 get the wave around. He will now be 1 lap down behind Brian Bliss, who is also 1 lap down in the number 34. And I think it's a good move for Eric Minch. He's got a little bit of damage on that truck, but just a few laps on the tires there. Definitely good to see someone use the wave around to their advantage. Riding on board with the number 3 of Tim Connolly. Great run for him tonight so far in that number 3 truck, running in the 7th position. Great to see Tim running up there closer to the top 5. And he's done a great job so far here tonight with a Heartbeat Network on board with that truck. There is Brian Bliss, your lucky dog, as we're just now at halfway. It'll be halfway this time by. So I think Kyle Zimmer will be the shoo-in for the extra bonus point here at halfway, because he is the race leader. But anything can happen on the restart. He could go to David Wilson if he slips up a little bit.
Yeah, we've seen these restarts tonight be somewhat chaotic. Seen missed shifts. We've seen just people getting loose in turn 1. So it's definitely you never know what you're going to get when these drivers go green.
It looks like the only driver we have so far lost tonight is Kevin Cochran. He is sitting on pit road, but it doesn't look like that number 80 crew is working on that car. So I think he might be a DNF tonight, but we'll wait and see, as pace car has turned hard left. And the green flag is back in the air. Kyle Zimmer races down, and I don't know. It looks like maybe David Wilson beat him to the stripe there. Not exactly sure how that's going to play out, but that might give the 1 bonus point to David Wilson. Not exactly sure how the officials will call that one, but David Wilson definitely showing his might, as that number 20 truck has driven to the race lead, doing it strongly on the outside line. First time we've really been able to see that high line prevail on one of these restarts so easily tonight.
Yeah, and one thing that David Wilson has been doing all night that's been helping him is he's been pinching that inside car down really a lot, and it's been giving him a great restart. And we saw it there. He was able to just almost drive around Zimmer going into turn 1 there.
Yeah, Billy Wise now on the inside of Chris Roberge trying to make it work. Oh my gosh, we had Alan Capers dive to the inside of Billy Wise. Tried to make it 3 wide there for a second. I think Capers had to back out of it, and that's now going to launch Nate Catilla on those 4 fresh tires. Remember, he was one of the last trucks at pits, maybe thinking about fuel strategy there in that number 4 truck. He's now on the back bumper of Billy Wise, as Alan Capers now drops back just a little bit. Capers in 6th place. But got to keep an eye on Billy.
We had a battle for the lead. Kyle Zimmer drove to the bottom of David Wilson, but he lost all of his momentum off turn 4, and he's kind of gotten most of that gap back. But I'm not sure what happened to him. Just lost a lot of speed there.
Great run coming out of turn number 4 by Kyle Zimmer. He just ran about maybe even a quarter of a groove higher than the 20 truck, trying to use that variable banking to his advantage. Now he dives right down to the inside. Great run coming out of turn number 2 for Kyle Zimmer. The track definitely widening up here a little bit with the cooler track temperature, and now we're side by side for the race lead coming out of turn number 4. David Wilson to the high side, Kyle Zimmer to the inside, but Wilson got such a good drive up off the corner, keeping that momentum up on the high line. The 20 truck able to prevail for now, but that number 25 truck all over his back bumper.
And if David Wilson keeps his truck up there, it's going to be mighty hard for Zimmer to clear him, but obviously, he's going to have to find a different way around him. He's not going to be able to just dive below him, at least unless he goes on the inside and does like a slide job.
Yeah, Kyle Zimmer got a great run coming out of number 4. I think the 20 truck got a little bit tight as he now able to get a great run, not quite able to get up to the door panel of that number 20 truck. And the number 25, Kyle Zimmer, has to drop back in. But, definitely sniffing that race lead. Like we had said, Kyle Zimmer started on the pole, dropped back a little bit, and now he's racing for the race lead. Just over halfway, 64 laps to go here at Iowa Speedway. Zimmer again running right down on the bottom groove in turns number 1 and 2. Maybe that's where Kyle thinks it's a little bit faster. Of course, it's not where David Wilson's running, so maybe just trying to get some clean air on the nose of that 25, but I've been noticing Kyle Zimmer runs a little bit higher than the 20 and 3 and 4, and is able to get a great run down the front stretch, and he's able to take that momentum into a good run into 1 and 2. Is another great run by Kyle Zimmer. I think he had to check up a little bit coming out of turn number 2, but man, Kyle Zimmer's really looking for this race lead.
Yeah, we've definitely seen him move up in 3 and 4. He was running right on that yellow line, but you can kind of see he's running where David Wilson isn't, and that's kind of what you got to do to get around him. See right here, he's going to drive to the inside, but he's not going to be able to get that run off. So just trying to get some air on that nose of the truck and give some more downforce, because you can't run behind another truck directly, and it just takes all the air off your nose, and you just can't turn.
Yeah, definitely aero wash. Even on a track like this, it's only 7/8 of a mile, but it's a pretty high-speed track with quite a bit of banking. I mean, these trucks are 120 miles an hour or so in the middle of the corner, so definitely aerodynamics are important here, as Kyle Zimmer is just trying his best to get to the back bumper of David Wilson. He's got a great run here as Wilson washes out a little bit out of turn number 4, but he's just going to stay lockstep behind him. We do have some great racing a little bit further back behind these race leaders. Look at this battle. This is Chris Roberge, Billy White, Nate Catilla, and Alan Capers. This is the battle for 3rd, as Alan Capers almost in the outside wall, almost pinched into the outside wall by Nate Catilla, but these drivers are trying off the front nose of Nate Catilla, almost into the back of Billy Wise there. So this is a great battle. Even a little bit further back now, Alan Capers is Catilla. Look at that save as we're side by side for the race lead. Battles everywhere brewing here at Iowa Speedway, as Zimmer has gotten to the inside. We'll see if he's able to do anything with it. Not able to do anything once again this time. Just trying to be patient in that number 25 truck, looking for that opportunity to make that move, as Wilson goes way high in 1 and 2. He might have caught that bump, because I think he gave up a little bit of ground there to the 25. Didn't lose that much on that 20 because he was able to get that power down so early. But this is great stuff.
Yeah, and I want to pan the camera back one car on track to the 34 of Brian Bliss. He is 1 lap down, but he is as fast as these two in front of him. So if he can get that lap back, he definitely will have a chance of this win. He was really really strong earlier in the race. Just had some unfortunate accident damage that put him in this spot, but he's definitely not out of it yet.
Yeah, definitely looking at the lap times currently, Brian Bliss is well on pace with your race leaders. That last lap, David Wilson and Kyle Zimmer, though, only 1/1000th of a second between them. If you don't think these two race leaders are going for it, well, think again, because Kyle Zimmer, he's poking his nose to the inside of David Wilson yet again, saying, hey, David, I'm here. I want this lead. You better not make a mistake.
And mistakes are something that David Wilson has not done a lot this season. He's been one of the more consistent drivers, just kind of capitalizing on when other drivers do that. So Zimmer is definitely kind of his work cut out for him.
Yep, definitely. He does have his work cut out for him, but that number 20 truck is very fast as he looks to go to the inside of Tim Connolly here, able to do so. Tim letting those drivers by on the inside as they're halfway down the back stretch, as Tim Connolly will be your first truck 1 lap down, but he's about to be in that battle with Brian Bliss for that lucky dog spot. But that battle up the front just raging on. The battle for third a little bit further back has cooled off a little bit, as Chris Roberge has kind of taken a stamp on that third place spot over Billy Weiss, who's about a half a second behind Chris, and Alan Caper is another half second back, and Nate Cotillo about another half second back behind Alan. So really this battle up at the front that is just raging on is the best battle on the track. Zimmer's got a great run this time. You can't even see David Wilson out of his nose. There is that number 20. Zimmer just trying to get that yellow line, but not able to get down to that yellow line, and had to roll out of it to not wash up into that number 20 truck. Just really tough to pass here. But Zimmer's really showing some great patience as he's got yet another run up off the corner. Look at that speed differential between the 25 and the 20, just able to close in on him just a little bit. Great stuff for this race lead.
Yeah, and one thing very indicative of this track is that these drivers are not running the same line from lap to lap. They're changing their lines every single lap, and it's really great to see. Zimmer's going high and low in 3 and 4, and just right up the back bumper of Wilson off of 2 every single time. Just cannot get that move made.
Yeah, Kyle Zimmer looking maybe just a little bit higher. If he can get that nose just out there, oh, he's in the wall. He just clipped the wall coming off the corner, and I think he took off a couple more millimeters of paint, because he got that wall pretty good. Like I was saying, if you can just get that right side, or excuse me, the left side of your car to the right side of David Wilson's, you might have a shot, but that little bit of damage on that right front now might be hurting that 25 truck. We'll have to keep an eye on it, as David Wilson now out to about a 4/10 of a second lead. Chris Roberge about 6 seconds off the race lead as these two go at it.
That was just a product of what we saw earlier. Zimmer lost all the front downforce on his truck and just kind of slid out and hit that wall.
Yeah, definitely just a little bit of, I agree, it's a little bit of maybe aero push just to the outside of David Wilson. So we'll have to see if he can come back from that right front damage.
Doesn't seem to have slowed him down too much. He was actually faster than Wilson that last lap, so I don't think he's out of it just yet.
Now, Cameron, when you do get a little bit of right front damage here in iRacing, explain what that does to a truck.
For the most part, when you hit the right front and you damage it, it will make the truck a little bit tighter, but that's not universal. Sometimes it might actually make you looser, depending on how, on a higher speed track, it just messes with the aerodynamics just a little bit. So on a track like this, you're probably going to be a little bit tighter, but it really just depends on how hard you hit it and where you hit it too, because if you hit if you hit at the rear, it might just make you a little bit loose.
Yeah, definitely. We're keeping. He's keeping up with him, though. I mean, those two drivers up at the front running, once again, really close lap times within a half-tenth of one another. So, Zimmer's definitely not out of it, as we now only have 44 laps to go here at the Iowa Speedway. It seems like the lap counter is clicking down pretty fast here. You're not missing anything behind. Roberge has dropped another second off. He's now 7.2 seconds off the lead. Caper is about a second off of him. The only real battle is for the 5th position beyond this, beyond this battle for the race lead, I should say. But that battle between Billy Wise and Nate Catilla, they're side by side as well. Looks like Nate's got a good run on Billy here, coming down the front stretch, trying to keep that momentum up. Billy really diving it down into the corner as 25 is caught. David Wilson yet again. Zimmer was the fastest car on track, but he's really loose. He's in the grass on the front straightaway, and he saves it, but he's going to lose a lot of track position, a lot of time on track for that little slide. He just clipped the apron just a little bit, just enough to upset that truck, Cameron. Clipping the apron here can be deadly, but what a great save.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen a lot of saves like that tonight from these guys. Just this track is really tough, and these drivers are really handling it really very well.
Little bit of contact there. I say a little bit of contact. That was quite a bit of contact. A hit check. Nate Catilla giving Billy a door check, if you will, using them hockey terms. But it looks like Nate Catilla able to get past Billy Wise. That moved him up into the 5th position. So this is a battle for top 5 position in this race. And I'm sure Billy will say, hey, buddy, I want that spot back, as he dives to the inside of the 4 as they go around the number 22 of Daniel Hosser to get Hosser behind them. But definitely that battle has heated up between the 4 and the 32. I'm sure these drivers want that top 5, as you can see here, the iRacing dynamic track looks like a nice big cloud has gotten over Iowa Speedway as we descend into cloud cover for a brief period. I'm sure we'll see that sun here in a second, but that will temporarily give these drivers a little bit more grip on the track, as the track does respond to the cloud cover.
Yeah, and these drivers are definitely making use of the extra grip they're getting. We're seeing a little bit more side-by-side multi-groove racing. These drivers able to use more lines, as Catilla is kind of driven away from Billy Wise here. I'm not sure. He's just kind of gotten back into his groove and settled in a little bit.
Yeah, and so after that, after that little bit of hiccup on that 25 truck, Kyle Zimmer, he's now 2.8 seconds behind David Wilson. So we'll have to see if he can close that down, as we now have 37 laps to go here at the Iowa Speedway. He would have to, make a really good run of it, about a 1/10 of a second a lap if we stay green. Of course, there's always a question that we could see another yellow flag, but let's hope we stay clean and green to the end, as Billy Wise, he's kind of stopped the bleeding, Cameron. I think he's kind of gotten back into his groove after the little bit of contact there, and I'm sure those two drivers, we might not see the end of the contact here tonight. It is a short track after all here at only 7/8 of a mile.
We actually do have a battle for 3rd heating up. Alan Capers has caught 98 Chris Roberge. He made a move down in turn 1, slid up, and almost clipped the rear end of that 98, but thankfully no contact there, and we stay green.
Yeah, you look at that left front of that number 13 truck. He got that left front damage when I think Chris Roberge did have a spin in turn 3 and 4, but he's kept that left front damage, and he's got damage on the right side of his truck too. But man, he's a warrior in that number 13 machine, and he's just kind of sticking it out, hitting his marks, letting the race come to him, because yeah, he's definitely closed in on Chris Roberge, and showing what he's made of tonight.
I've always said that if you get some damage on one side of the car, you might as well damage the other one to at least even it out. We have a truck slow in turn 4.
Yeah, I think we have a caution flag out at the Iowa Speedway. Looks like maybe there's Tim Connolly. He's slow on track. Looks like he might have had a tire go down. Definitely came to a stop on the track. Tim has had a great run tonight in that number 3 truck. Hopefully he can get that number 3 truck repaired and back out on track here with only 32 laps to go. But you know, I think that was commentator's curse. I said a couple laps ago, so we can keep it clean and green to the end, but the yellow flag is out. So sorry for the commentator's curse, everyone. That's on me. As there is the number 25. I'm sure Kyle Zimmer was hoping for that yellow.
Yeah, and another driver who really was looking for that was the 34, Brian Bliss. He's going to get the lucky dog and be back in the lead lap and potentially have a shot at this win now.
Yeah, he will definitely get that lucky dog, and getting that wave around here with just about 30 laps to go, you know, that will definitely help out, and I'm sure he will be running and gunning to get a top 3 or a win here tonight. We'll have to see how that plays out as David Wilson hits his marks nice and clean in that machine.
I gotta imagine all these drivers are going to be taking 4 tires with as long of a run as we had.
Yeah, that was a great run. Great to see that many green flag laps. We had almost 40 laps of green flag running there, so it was a great green flag run as everyone off pit road. But Chris Roberge, man, what a stop by that number 98 crew. But it's like a 9.3 second stop, Cameron. I don't think that was 4 tires. I think Roberge is gambling with 2.
Yeah, that's definitely a 2-tire stop. But, you know, Roberge is a gambler, so we see it week in and week out. He does things that no one else does, and I got to commend him on that. You know, he knows that it's a good thing. It's usually a good thing to just try and see what you can do.
Well, we'll drag. I think we're going to get Chris Roberge up here. Cameron, take it away.
Hey, Chris Roberge, it's Cameron Rich in the 3-wide booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Hey, man, we saw you take 2 tires. Tell us about that decision.
Well, I just decided to try 2 tires on the right side, see what happens.
Gambling, man, I like it. Tell us about how your race has gone. It looks like you've been right up there in the thick of things for the most part.
Pardon?
I said, just tell us about how your race has gone. It looks like you've been right up there in the thick of things for the most part.
Yeah, I have. It's just taking it easy. I don't want to rush anything. It's got a lot of ways to go.
All right, man. Well, you got a bunch of hungry drivers behind you on 4 fresh tires. What's your plan to potentially seal this win away from them?
Well, hopefully these 2 tires, or if there's another caution, I'll probably see what happens.
All right. Well, you heard it from the man himself. Quite a gutsy move. I like it, personally. You got anything to add, Peter?
No. I just hopefully I could win.
All right, Chris. You know, I'm kind of with you. I think it's a great call, Cameron, and Chris, best of luck, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you after this is all said and done.
Well, thank you. I hope so.
All right. That was Chris Roberge, everyone, driver of the number 98. Trying 2 tires, gambling man tonight here at the Iowa Speedway. As looks like the pace car lights are off. So a couple of drivers, I think, are taking the wave around here. And we'll get set to go back green flag racing here at the Iowa Speedway.
All right, Peter, we've heard from Chris himself. What do you do if you're Chris and you know that you have a chance to win this race with that 2-tire call?
Man, if I was him, I would be very interested to try that high line on the restart, but it looks like he's going to take the inside line here. So that's definitely when you start on the inside, you have to get a great restart. You have to drive it off into turn number 1 really hard, and try and see if you can clear the 20 on your high side, and try and block the run, because we know he's going to get a great run off of turn number 2. But we'll wait and see how it all unfolds as pace car has dived off. We're looking off the front of Kyle Zimmer. Green flag back in the air here at Iowa Speedway. Great start by David Wilson. We've seen that 20 get some great restarts. And now Chris Roberge, hard on the gas, using those right side tires for his advantage. I think he's cleared him, but no, the 20 car coming right back at him. What a run by David Wilson coming out of turn number 4.
Yeah, he shot it like a rocket out of turn 2, but here comes Roberge back on the inside. He's not giving up. Here comes Zimmer on the outside of him. These guys are fighting. They know they only have 30 or 26 laps to go.
Yeah, only 26 laps to go here as Kyle Zimmer now has cleared Chris Roberge using that high line to his advantage. So we're back to the battle where we were just a few laps ago between the 20 and the 25. As we look a little bit further back, there's Nate Cotillo running high line, trying to get to the outside of Alan Capers, really tight there. Alan Capers giving him just enough room as Nate Cotillo is going to squeeze by that number 13 machine as back up at the front. Looks like Kyle Zimmer's got a big run on David Wilson. These two duking it out once again at the front.
Yeah, and Chris Roberge has fallen off a little bit, but don't count him out yet, because once these new tires on these top 2 cycle out, that advantage will wear off just a little bit. So depending on how hard they battle, we might see him come back into the play of things.
Yeah, that's one thing at Iowa Speedway, because they have multi-grooves, it does seem to make the side-by-side battles not as, I guess, hurtful on your lap times, just due to the variable banking. So I'm sure Chris Roberge is kind of ruining that a little bit as these two drivers up the front, man. The Kyle Zimmer all over the back of that number 20. I'm sure, well, yep, indeed, we'll see Kyle Zimmer dive down to the inside, try and get that run up off of turn number 2. And indeed he does, but not able to draw alongside with that number 20. As we'll see him dive down once again, just trying to go where the 20 is. And I know we said it before, but trying to get some clean air on the nose of that number 25 truck. He did use a fast repair under that last caution, so that number 25 truck is nice and clean for these last 22 laps. As I got to the inside of him once again, not quite. It's like that 20 truck just able to get a little bit of a run on that high side to keep that momentum up. And honestly, if I am Kyle Zimmer, I'm just going to kind of look to see when David Wilson tries that inside groove a little bit and see if I can, maybe use that high line to my advantage to get a good run. I know we've seen David Wilson run a little bit lower in turn number 3 and 4. I see him, yeah, it looks like Wilson's just running that middle groove in 3 and 4. So if I was Kyle Zimmer, I'd try to use that high line to my advantage, see if you can get a good run and then duck underneath him in turn 1 and 2.
Yeah, it looks like Zimmer is he's making good use of that bottom line in 1 and 2, but he's having the most success when he's able to get a little bit higher than Wilson in 3 and 4. Wilson's just running about a lane and a half to 2 lanes off that wall, and Zimmer really can't go any higher than that because he will get into the wall. We've seen that already. But it's pretty much, Wilson is running right where Zimmer doesn't want him to be, and it's making it so hard for him to do anything with him.
Brian Bliss, who was the first car 1 lap down, he got his lucky dog. He is back on the lead lap, but that number 34 machine, he's 8 seconds off the pace currently as we're side by side for the race lead. I look away for just half a second, and Kyle Zimmer says, "Hey guys, I'm here." And he's now side by side for the race lead, but once again unable to hold it. There's Nate Cotillo a little bit further back, racing with Alan Capers in the number 13. That's a great battle. Chris Roberge is holding on to the 3rd position with those 2 right side tires that he took on the last stop. The left sides on that number 98 truck are quite old, but Cameron, taking right side tires can sometimes loosen up the truck, and we've heard a few drivers say it's a little tight tonight.
Yeah, that might be honestly why he did that, if he wanted to change the handling of the truck, because with the fixed setups that we have, that's really all you have to do. So that and brake bias. So that might be just hey, I'm too tight, I can't do anything with this. So see if he can get back up here and race for the lead with these guys.
Yeah, and it also gives you some really good track position as you see your leaders work around the 22 of Daniel Hosser. But yeah, man, this battle for the race lead, David Wilson looks like he might have got a couple tenths that last lap. Wilson did on Zimmer, so but still really close at the front. And we've seen Kyle Zimmer, he loses a few tenths and then all of a sudden he gains them back. And when he gains them back in bunches on that number 25 truck. Looks like everyone now kind of running that middle groove in turns 3 and 4 as Zimmer, there he goes, once again getting a great run down that front stretch, getting a little bit of draft off of David Wilson because, you know, like we've been saying, this track's not a slow track. You get some pretty high speeds here, so you can actually get a little bit of benefit from the draft here.
Yeah, and you know, even though the track is small, you still run pretty high speeds here, and you gotta think on Kyle Zimmer's part, we're coming down almost to 10 to go, and he knows he probably is a little bit faster than David Wilson. Do we see a desperation move on his part?
Yeah, I mean, it's coming to go time, you know. It does race like a short track, so maybe a little bit of short track type racing here at Iowa. But yeah, only 12 laps to go now at the start-finish line. This battle for the race lead, only a tenth and a half separate your two race leaders as Kyle Zimmer got a great run through the center of 1 and 2, but just not able to keep that momentum up as David Wilson able to stay just a half car length ahead of that number 25. And 25 now, once again, using that inside to his advantage. That high line, still just that higher momentum on that outside line as David Wilson has now clinched most laps led in this race. He's led a lot of this race now, over 74, so he's led over 72, excuse me, so he's led over half the race, getting that extra bonus point for a lap led, trying to close in on the 26, who's not here tonight, of Tanner Sharp. So Kyle Zimmer dives to the inside. Cameron, he's just hounding him.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be his best chance to pass. He got a great run off turn 4 and was almost to even with him, but just lost that momentum again. And I don't know. I think he's just gonna have to dive in there and just hope it sticks at this point.
There is a hot battle for third. I know we're focusing on this race lead, but there is a three-way battle between Chris Roberge, Nate Catilla, and Alan Capers. So we see the battle for the race lead, which is nice and hot, but the battle for third is equally as hot as, man, look at Nate Catilla and Alan Capers, man, they're just going at it. But those two tires, what a call on Chris Roberge. He's able to make that work so far for him to maintain that third position. Look at Alan Capers coming up right on the back of Nate Catilla. Definitely had to make a little bit of a move to not make contact. But that number 13 truck looks really fast. Once again, longer in the run. We saw this in the last run as we're now down to only 7 laps to go, this time by at the stripe. As the battle for the race lead hasn't got anywhere, but the race leaders have caught lap traffic. So how may lap traffic come into play here? We're 3 wide for the race lead. Only 7 laps to go. We're 3 wide. Kyle Zimmer to the inside. Dave Wilson to the outside. These two drivers, they still have Eric Minch in front of them. Wilson scrapes the wall off the corner. We're still side by side at the stripe. Give that lap lead to Kyle Zimmer. These two drivers going right at it. Wilson trying to get that outside group growing, but there's Eric Minch. Is Zimmer going to use Minch as a pick? They're 3 wide once again down the backstretch. That 25, Kyle's, and there's a caution. Caution on the track. Get the race lead to Kyle Zimmer. Not exactly sure. It looks like the 13 of Alan Capers is going around, but that move by Kyle Zimmer's giving him the race lead. Oh, there's a little bit of contact there with Nate Catilla. That was a half spin with Alan Capers, and really, I don't know. The flagman that time gave a yellow, but everyone kept it going straight. But that move by Kyle Zimmer to take advantage of the lap traffic, that was his one shot to get the lead, and I think he made the most of it. I'm not as sure we'll go back to green, Cameron.
Yeah, that was quite impressive, and The 0-1 of Eric Minch did nothing wrong there. He literally had nowhere to go. So that was a great move on Zimmer's part. I don't think we will be going back green, but I might be wrong here.
Alan Capers and Brian Bliss on pit road. Just in case it does go back green, those two drivers, I'm sure they're going to take 4 fresh tires. And if we do get like a one-lap shootout, they're going to try and make the most of them. But my goodness, yeah, Eric Minch, just, like you said, he didn't really do anything wrong. He just he just seemed to keep his position there, and that's kind of one thing as a race leader that you do kind of want out of your lap traffic, to them to just kind of run the line that they're running sometimes, because it's predictable, and it seemed like Eric Minch was doing that, and looks like David Wilson might have just caught him at an inopportune time for him, but an opportune time for Kyle Zimmer, as we now watch out the front of that number 25 Rebel Racing machine. I'm sure he's just watching that pace car and hoping those lights stay on, because I'm sure he would be mighty fine if this race finished the way it did, it might. But man, what a run. Great racing. 3 wide for the race lead. What more could you ask for?
Yeah, it was a lot of good stuff all night. Really a textbook display of what this track is all about. Just multi-crew racing. We saw some contact. We saw, we saw the best of speedway and short track racing, and that's really what Iowa Speedway is all about. So I love this track, and I hope everybody who watched this race tonight is a believer or so in it.
I know as a driver, this track can be kind of frustrating because, like we saw tonight, Kyle Zimmer might have been just a little bit faster at times, but he was patient, and patience has prevailed, and he has gotten the lead. This will be the moment of truth. We'll have to keep an eye on the pace car at this time, because this time by will have 2 laps to go. If the pace lights stay on, we will not be going back green, but if the pace lights go off here, we'll get a 1-lap shootout. The pace car hits the stripe, and those lights stay on. So that will be the race. And boy, Cameron, I know I kind of wanted to see it go back green, because these drivers put on an absolute show tonight.
Yeah, that's a little bit disappointing, but we did have so much good racing beforehand. But you got to feel for David Wilson. He led the most laps tonight, and he pretty much lost the race in the span of about 5 feet. So it's definitely not how you want to win the race. But on the other hand, Kyle Zimmer, what a great move to take that lead and do what he needed to do to win the race.
Yeah, he got a very opportune yellow there, because although he was on the inside, we saw that inside line have some difficulty completing the pass. David Wilson was still to his outside, so it could have been a great battle there all the way to the finish. But, I said it earlier in the race, right at the beginning, that number 25, Kyle Zimmer, started on the pole, and the only other time he's done that this season was at Charlotte, his only other win of the year. So this will be Zimmer's 2nd win from the point here this season in the SimPossible MS Forward Truck Series. Wow, what a race.
Yeah, he also took the checkered flag last week at Richmond, so we have to assume he's a fan of the small D ovals. So, give him both short track wins of the season so far as well.
Yeah, great run for Kyle Zimmer, as these drivers, I'm sure they wish they were going at 140 miles an hour down the backstretch, but they'll just be at 48 miles an hour down the backstretch, as the rough pace car keeps it at a constant 50 miles an hour. And coming out of turn number 4 for the final time, he will have led 26 laps, just 1 more than his number. But it doesn't matter, because Kyle Zimmer crosses the stripe. Kyle Zimmer wins at Iowa Speedway. And I'm sure that driver is super excited, and I'm sure Levi Zielinski and that Rebel Racing crew are also ecstatic right now. Congrats to him and that team, but congrats to all these drivers tonight, because I think a lot of them put on a great show here at the Iowa Speedway. And, it's Iowa tonight, Gateway next week, and Gateway is it's a pretty tricky track. So I'm excited to see them go to Gateway next week.
Absolutely, it's another one of those tracks that I think, you know, it's over a mile long, but it races more like a short track than it does a speedway. Very low banked and shaped kind of like an egg, but one of my more favorite tracks as well. I like that track to drive and watch races on.
Kyle Zimmer doing donuts in that airborne graphics machine, going through the grass. He went through the grass a little bit earlier, but I'm sure this time that green grass tastes a little bit sweeter than earlier in the race. What a great performance by that number 25 Chevrolet, and great stuff. All right, and man, that I'm sure he's just trying to use every little bit of those Goodyear tires up with all that smoke that he's laying out there on the track. Picking up some nice green grass, as you can see. The Legends Oval here at Iowa Speedway. It's great to see that this track has a Legends Oval. As we'll work our way down to pit lane, and we'll pull up the third place finisher. Here he is, Chris Roberge. Chris, we were just talking to you a while ago. Those two tires, they didn't quite get you the win tonight, but you were able to hold off a hard-charging Nate Catilla and Billy Wise. Talk us through those last few laps, Chris.
Well, at least I made a podium, so that's a good news. The two tires I just want to stick around, and I know Nate and Keepers were coming towards me, and just have to defend myself for that.
Yeah, it definitely looked like you had a great. You're putting on some great moves to keep them behind you, running your race, keeping pace and being really consistent with your lap times. One thing Cameron and I talked about is sometimes running two tires can loosen up your truck a little bit. We heard a couple of drivers say that it was really tight out there tonight. Did those two tires make your truck a little bit looser and make it a little bit better to drive?
No, it's just fine. It's just maybe a little tighter, so it's a little easier for me, but it's pretty good.
All right, well, definitely a great strategy move. Are you happy with the two tire call, or in hindsight would you have gone with four?
No, I'm happy with as is.
Well, there you have it, driver of the number 98. I'm sure you got some shout outs though for us, Chris.
Yes, shout out to Jeff for hosting this. Congrats on Kyle for his win. Congrats on my teammate Dave Wilson. And then a big shout out to my wife.
Well, definitely a fantastic race for you here tonight, Chris. And I'm sure, after Dover, you had a great showing at Dover. You're able to have another great showing here tonight. Next week is Gateway. What do you think about the Gateway track?
I haven't raced it at all, but I might just do some testing on it.
All right, yep. Gateway, it's a tricky egg. So hopefully you're able to find some speed this week in testing, and we hope to see you again next week, Chris. Thanks for joining us.
And thank you very much. And just to let you guys know too, the GoFundMe is still going on until the end of February for my wife.
Yes, definitely. If you're interested, I know that Chris's wife, she had a bicycle stolen from her, and she is disabled as well. So definitely, if you're willing to help out here, get in contact with us here or through the YouTube channel or Facebook. Find SimPossible on Facebook or through Twitter. Get in contact with us. Chris is looking for money through a GoFundMe. We'd be glad to provide you guys with the link to donate for that very good cause to help out Chris and his wife. Chris, once again, we thank you very much, and we'll hope to see you next week.
And thank you too for you guys too.
All right, that was your third place finisher, and we'll now grab Dave Wilson once he makes his way up to the booth. And Cameron, take it away.
All right, Dave. You got a copy?
Yep.
All right, man. We saw you lead a lot of laps tonight, the most actually. It came up just a little bit short, about 5 feet to be exact, but tell us about your race.
Most of the race, I knew Kyle was a lot faster than me, and all I could really do was just hold my line and hope for the best, really. Hope that he'd drain his tires going for the bottom. Coming around to the end of the race there, I got caught in lap traffic and couldn't really do much, got stuck in the middle. Kyle had a great move there on the inside, got past me right before the caution came out. That was an awesome move by him, and well done.
Yeah, it was a lot of great racing tonight. You two put on one hell of a show, I must say myself. We saw you running the high line, holding Kyle off. So, how was the truck handling up there?
It definitely had a better runoff order than running the low side, but that's pretty well for any track. It really just came up to who got a better line going into the corner than coming out, it seemed. Coming out, usually it would be the person on the high side would get the advantage, but if the person on the high side had a really bad entry to the corner, then the person on the inside would definitely get the run out.
All right, well, we did see the track temperature change a lot during the race. How did that affect the handling to you from the driver's seat?
Definitely as usual, once the track got hotter, it definitely felt a lot more slick. The colder it got, the more I had to change my line, and the harder I found it to run. I was so used to running the hotter temperatures, I just could not keep pace with the colder temperatures, and I like to say that would probably pay into how poor I kind of ran in the very last stint there.
All right, man. Well, it's definitely going to help your point situation with the points leader from before tonight. He did not show up. So next week we go a few miles south to Gateway. What are your thoughts on that track?
I actually haven't raced on Gateway yet, so it'll be an interesting race to say the least.
All right, man. Well, thanks for talking to us. Congrats on your run tonight. I know it's not what you wanted, but you still put on a hell of a show for 3 Wide TV, and we enjoyed watching you. And good luck tonight. Or do you have any shout-outs for us before you go?
Yeah, again, I'd like to congratulate Kyle on that win. He did really well this race. I was just lucky to keep him off as long as I did. I'd like to thank my teammate, or congratulate my teammate for getting 3rd place there that race. I'd like to thank you guys here in the 3 Wide booth for hosting these races every time and always broadcasting it. I'd like to thank Jeff Schmidt as well for making this league possible. Without it, it would be just normal iRacing. It's definitely a better atmosphere with all these guys. We always have a great time every week.
All right, guys, you heard from the man himself. That's P2 Dave Wilson. I think Peter Short has caught up with our winner, Kyle Zimmer.
Yeah, here we are down in Victory Lane here at the Iowa Speedway with your race winner, Kyle Zimmer, as he climbs out of his number 25 truck. Kyle, patience, buddy. You had such a fast race truck here tonight. Started on the pole, led 26 laps, and was able to close in on Dave Wilson. Talk us through your race, and more importantly, talk us through that opportune moment where you were able to get the race lead. And Kyle, this is Peter Short up here in the booth. Hey, buddy, great race. I'm wondering wondering how your race went. Talk us through that those last few laps. I think Carlos is able to type down.
Race over was pretty good, and a fast truck all race long. Me and Dave, we were pretty much equal truck all race long. We were being neck and neck battling, and thought about just staying fun one or the other, because I could really pass him, but I noticed I would catch him in turn 1 and 2 usually, but I just can't completely pass him every time. I was just hoping for some maybe the mistakes from him just to have me get through him. But I think as a late cautious just before, I think there were 2 laps on people that might have hurt Dave a little bit in turn 2 to 3 that allowed me to get right side by side with him. And somehow the caution came out barely and got in front of him to take the win. It was great battle. It was an insane race right there.
Yeah, definitely. You showed an amazing amount of patience tonight. Just stay right behind Dave pretty much the entire race, but absolutely fantastic job. Next week we go to the Gateway Speedway. It's quite a bit different than Iowa, but kind of still races like a short track. It's an egg-shaped track, but very flat. What do you think about Gateway?
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of patience, of course, and you have to hit your marks each corner and not overturn. And I pretty much would think the same way for Gateway for next week. I haven't had a great history with the track, but we'll see what happens next week. And if I remember, I definitely think we'll be shifting maybe down to 3rd gear then and turn 1, 2, or 3 or 4. So it's definitely could be something to think about with shifting gears possibly there.
Yeah, that's a very good point you bring up. Yeah, definitely that at times can be the fastest way around that track to shift gears, and definitely adds an extra dynamic to the Gateway International Speedway. Well, I'm sure you're looking forward to next week. It sounds like a lot of the other drivers, David Wilson, Christopher Burge, both of those drivers haven't raced much Gateway, so if you haven't raced there very much, you're in good company with them, because it sounds like a lot of people will be racing there possibly for the first time. So I'm sure you have some shout outs, so give us them shout outs.
Yeah, I definitely want to give a shout out to my sponsor, Airborne Graphics, for giving them another win, and I definitely like to give a shout out to you guys for broadcasting. Love watching you guys each week in and out, and definitely want to thank Jeff for putting up this link for our disabilities, and definitely like to thank Rebound Racing and MS4 for sponsoring this series, and it's been a great race today. It's just definitely a great race, and definitely look forward to watch tonight for that, and look forward to next week at Gateway.
Alrighty, Kyle, we thank you for joining us here in the booth. Absolute fantastic race tonight. Put on an absolute awesome show for us here in the booth, and I'm sure all the fans on YouTube. Thanks for joining us, and good luck next week.
Thank you.
And I've caught up with Jeff Schmidt, owner, operator, the big guy at SimPossible Racing League. Jeff, you heard it from Peter himself. What a great race tonight.
Oh, it really was. It was awesome. Some awesome short track battling.
Yeah, that was quite the battle we saw tonight between really a lot of drivers. We saw a lot of comers and goers. Made it really fun to watch from up here in the booth, but we go to Gateway next week, and it seems like a lot of the drivers really haven't ran that track, so that should be pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Some drivers don't even own the track yet. We're going to make sure that everyone gets the track and can do some practice there before heading out there. I know personally my first league race ever in a league was at Gateway in the trucks, so there's a little bit of nostalgia there for me at that track in trucks, and it's really a fun track in the trucks. It's not like Pocono, but you like to think that it's similar in the fact that it's much different than other tracks, and there's a really slow turn compared to the rest that a lot of guys even downshift at to try to gain some speed. So it's definitely one of those that you got to put your time in and practice well to know what to expect out there, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we were just wondering if that race will be a day to night or a day only race. This is quite a unique track that very different on both ends. Drives totally different than really anything else that we will go to this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything I've ever done at Gateway has been a night race, and I think we're gonna stick with that. I think we'll be under the lights pretty much the whole race there.
Well, it's good. It's always good to hear from you, Jeff. We love talking to you up here in the booth. We know you have some shout outs, and we had a special one from Chris, our third place finisher, about this GoFundMe. If you could go on about that, because that's a good cause for everybody to know about.
Yeah, absolutely. I helped Chris out with the GoFundMe for his wife's bicycle that was stolen. She has a disability as well, and her bicycle was stolen right before her eyes. Someone stole it right there in front of her, and it's just a shame. It was her pride and joy, her mode of transportation, something that they saved up for a long time. It wasn't a cheap bicycle, so hopefully we can get enough funds to replace that for them. That would be great. It's unfortunate that we couldn't do it for Christmas, but there's been a lot of help. A lot of people donated for that, and we surely appreciate everyone that did. And also, anyone that's ever donated to SimPossible to the league, we see that and we thank you very much. If we haven't sent you a thank you out, then just know, if you hear this, that it's much appreciated, and it goes to a great cause. It goes to great use to help the drivers get things that they don't have. Tracks is one of those things. If a driver can't afford a track, then we're gonna buy it for them. If they are running out of subscription and can't afford to resubscribe, then we're gonna take care of that. It's something that I feel strongly that we can help out that way, at least, if nothing else. But yeah, tonight's race was great. It's these guys are proving that having a disability has nothing to do with anything other than the struggles that they go through daily, but it doesn't show in the racing. And they sure put on a great show, and they do an awesome job. And a lot of these guys you could put up there with any other league, disabled or not, and they'd smoke them. So the speed is there. These guys are quick, and it's one of the first thing I hear from a lot of the new guys that come into the league that say, wow, these guys are fast. They didn't expect it to be that way, so we're proud of that. So I mean, you can come and run in the back if you want and just cruise around, or you can race for a win. It's up to you. The league's designed to facilitate anything that you would want to do yourself as a racer, and we have respect for whatever anyone does want to do. Our shout outs, just it's gonna be short and sweet tonight. I'm not feeling too well, so as much as I would love to go in depth about each thing and our sponsors and everything, I'm not going to be tonight. But msford.org, check them out. Jim in Omaha, Nebraska, they've been a huge help to us. HomeNetHosting.us, go check them out if you want web hosting done. Use promo code SimPossible at checkout. The fans, friends, family, just everyone. 3Y TV, you and Carlos, Justin, Peter, Cameron, yeah, everyone is you do an amazing job, so thank you very much.
Oh man, I think I can speak for Carlos and Peter in saying that we love watching these races, especially when they put on a hell of a race like that tonight. So thank you for putting this league on for us to be able to watch cartoon race cars and then talk about it. So they started 2019 with a bang. So it's really all I got. If you got anything else to add, Peter, or even if Carlos wants to come out of his hiding spot, go ahead and say something.
I don't know if we want Carlos to come out of his hiding spot. Jeff, just a great race. Hope you feel better next week, and we're really looking forward to Gateway. I'm sure they'll put on a great show again, and I hope everyone listening does join us here once again on 3Y TV.
Thank you. You guys have an amazing night.
Alrighty, Cameron. We'll go through the final results. And Kyle Zimmerman, what an absolute fantastic finish. Able to get that win right there at an opportune time. Finishing in second, David Wilson in that number 20 led over half the race, but wasn't quite able to get the W. Christopher Burge took 2 tires there towards the end, was able to stick it out, finish in third in the number 98. Nick Catilla, the number 4 truck, finishing in P number 4. William Wise, Billy Wise, finishing in 5th in the number 32. Brian Lowhead in the 66, finishing in number 6. Brian Bliss, a strong showing early in the race, brought that number 34 truck home in 7th. Alan Capers, the last car running on the lead lap, he finishes 8th, followed by Eric Minch and Daniel Hosser, rounding out your top 10, both of those trucks 2 laps down. As we go now to the 11th place driver, Tom Johnson, and he finished 4 laps down. Tim Connolly had a great showing early in the race. He wasn't quite able to finish tonight, but great showing from that number 3 truck. He finished 25 laps down, and Kevin Cochran rounding out your field as a non-finisher. So great showing tonight, Cameron. I'm sure that all these viewers here on 3 Wide TV were hopefully gladly entertained and were able to listen to our voices and make it through. So if you didn't make it through, you can try again next week, because we'll be back here at a great track. I'm really looking forward to it. Cameron, how about you?
Yeah, we will be back on January 9th in, I guess it's Madison, Illinois, really close to St. Louis, the Gateway Motorsports Park. Egg-shaped track, very unique. I love it. So these guys are definitely going to put on a good show there. As Peter said, if we weren't able to keep your attention this week, let's see if we can do it next week.
Yep, I'm really looking forward to it. It should be just as exciting as tonight. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you then.